The air near Shimmering Falls hummed with the sound of crystal leaves clinking in the wind. Ethan, a 15-year-old boy from the Earth outpost, knew he wasn't supposed to be here. His father had warned him 100 times. Beyond the river is wild country, son. No maps, no backup. But Ethan loved the glowing blue ferns and the way the water sparkled like diamonds. Today curiosity had won. He crept through tall grass, his boots crunching softly on rainbow-colored pebbles. That's when he heard it a whimper, like a hurt animal. Pushing aside a curtain of vines, he froze. A girl lay trapped under a fallen tree branch. She looked young, maybe his age, but strange. Her skin shimmered like moonlight on water, and her eyes glowed faintly gold. Blood stained her torn silver clothes. Ethan rushed to her. "Hey, can you stand?" he whispered. The girl gasped, pointing behind him. "Run, it comes back." A roar shook the trees. Thornback beast, big as a truck, with claws like knives and a spiked tail burst through the foliage. Its yellow eyes locked onto the girl. Ethan knew thornbacks. They hunted near the outpost. Fast, hungry, cruel. The beast lunged. Without thinking, Ethan grabbed a jagged rock and hurled it. "Over here!" he shouted. The rock bounced off the thornback's armored head. It turned, snarling. "Get away from her!" Ethan yelled. He waved his arms, heart pounding like a drum. The thornback forgot the girl. It charged at him. Ethan scrambled backward, but roots tripped him. He fell hard. The beast was on him in seconds. Hot breath hit his face. Claws ripped his shoulder. Pain exploded white and blinding. He heard the girl scream, "No." Ethan rolled, trying to shield his head. Teeth sank into his leg. He cried out, kicking wildly. The thornback shook him like a rag doll. Blood soaked the ground. Through blurry eyes, he saw the girl struggling to crawl toward him. "Stop," she begged the beast. "He was helping me." Suddenly, arrows whistled through the air, thwack, thwack, to hit the thornback's neck. It howled, releasing Ethan. More arrows flew. Silver-clad figures dropped from the trees, silent. Fierce hunters with glowing eyes like the girl's. They moved like lightning, spears flashing. The thornback staggered. One hunter drove a spear deep into its heart. With a final groan, the monster fell. Silence returned. Ethan lay broken, every breath agony. The girl crawled to his side, tears cutting paths through the dirt on her face. She cradled his head. "Why?" she whispered. "You didn't know me." Ethan tried to smile. Blood trickled from his lips. "You needed help." His vision darkened. The hunters gathered around. One, a tall man with a scarred face, knelt beside the girl. "Leela," he said gently, "is this the one who saved you?" Leela nodded, clutching Ethan's hand. "He fought the thornback, for me." The man's stern eyes softened, touched Ethan's torn jacket, the Earth Union patch stained red. "A Terran boy," he murmured. Then louder, "Bring the healing pod." Now, as the hunters rushed to obey, Lila pressed her forehead to Ethan's. "Stay alive," she pleaded, "please," but Ethan was already slipping away. The pain faded, replaced by cold. The last thing he saw was Lila's golden eyes, bright with tears, before everything went black. Darkness held Ethan for a long time. Then, slowly, a soft light pushed through. He felt warm, wrapped in something soft. His body felt heavy, like stone. Pain burned in his shoulder and leg, a deep, angry ache. He tried to move his fingers. They twitched. He opened his eyes. The light wasn't bright but gentle, like early morning. He wasn't outside. He lay on a low bed, made of smooth, pale wood inside a large room. The walls weren't metal like the outpost. They looked like they were grown, not built, curving upwards into points high above. Light came from the plants themselves. Vines clinging to the walls glowed with a soft blue and green light. Ethan. He turned his head, wincing at the pain. The girl from the falls stood beside his bed. Her silver-tinted skin was clean now, free of dirt and blood. Her golden eyes watched him, wide with worry and something else. Relief. A clean bandage wrapped her arm where the beast had clawed her. She wore simple, silvery clothes that seemed to shimmer faintly. "You woke up," she breathed. Her voice was soft, like wind through leaves. "We weren't sure. The wounds were deep." Ethan tried to speak. His throat felt dry and scratchy. "Where?" he managed. Our home, the girl said. Viridia, my name is Lila. She dipped a cloth into a bowl of water and carefully wiped his forehead. The water felt cool and good. My father, Chief Donovan, brought you here. The hunters carried you. You lost so much blood. Memories crashed back. The thornback, the pain, Lila crying. The beast ... dead, Lila said firmly. The hunters made sure. You saved me. Why did you do that? You didn't know me. Could have been dangerous. Ethan looked at her face, so close and earnest. You were hurt, he rasped. Alone. It seemed simple to him. How could he have left her? Footsteps sounded on the smooth floor. A tall man entered the room. He moved with quiet authority. His hair was dark, streaked with silver like Lila's, and his eyes, the same luminous gold, held an intense, searching look. He wore clothes similar to Lila's, but with bands of darker woven material across his chest. This was Chief Donovan. He stopped beside the bed, looking down at Ethan. His expression was hard to read. Not angry, but serious, thoughtful. So, the chief said, his voice deep and calm. The Terran boy who fights thornbacks for strangers finally opens his eyes. Ethan felt small under that gaze. Sir, he whispered. You fought a beast meant for killing, Donovan continued. You shielded my daughter with your own body. And for what? You know nothing of us. Your people fear us. Call us names. He leaned slightly closer. Tell me, boy, what did you see when you looked at my wounded child? An enemy? Or just a girl? Ethan thought of Lila trapped under the branch. Terrified, he remembered the blood. Just hurt, he answered honestly. Just needed help. Donovan studied him for a long moment, then a flicker of something. Surprise. Respect passed over his stern face. He straightened up. We have ways to heal, he said, gesturing towards a corner of the room. Ethan hadn't noticed it before. Large, clear pods stood there, filled with a pale green light that pulsed gently. Inside, shapes like glowing leaves drifted slowly. It is stronger than your Terran medicine. It will mend your bones and seal your wounds faster. You will go inside soon. Ethan stared at the strange pod. It looked alive. Thank you, he managed. Donovan nodded once, a sharp movement. Rest now, Ethan. Your courage has earned you our care, but your presence here, it changes things. He turned and left as quietly as he had come. Lila touched Ethan's hand lightly. The pod will help. We'll see. She tried to smile. Father doesn't say things lightly. He means it. You are safe here. Safe. Ethan looked around the glowing room, so different from the metal corridors of the Nexus outpost. He thought of his father, Daniel, back at the station. He would be frantic by now. He would be searching. Ethan knew his father. He wouldn't stop until he found him, and coming here, into this hidden place. Ethan closed his eyes. Safe felt complicated. The pain in his leg throbbed, a sharp reminder of the wild world outside, and the even more uncertain world he was now inside. The green light inside the healing pod hummed softly. Ethan floated, suspended in warm liquid. It didn't feel like water. It felt thick like honey, but warm and gentle. Glowing specks drifted around him, touching his skin, where the thornback had ripped him. He felt the deep pain in his shoulder and leg slowly fading, replaced by a strange tingling warmth. He could breathe easily inside the pod. After what felt like hours, the light dimmed. The liquid drained away. The clear front of the pod slid open. Ethan stepped out onto the smooth floor. Felt weak, like after a long sickness, but the sharp agony was gone. He looked down. The terrible gashes on his leg and shoulder were now closed, leaving only thin, pale lines where the skin had knitted back together. Lila was waiting. Her golden eyes lit up. You look much better, she said. The pod works fast. How do you feel? Sore, Ethan admitted, stretching carefully. But ... okay, stronger. He looked around the quiet room. Where is everyone? Father called a gathering, Lila explained. The whole settlement. He wants to speak about ... you. She sounded a little nervous. Before Ethan could ask more, Mira entered. She was the older woman who had checked his wounds before the pod. Her face was usually stern, but today she looked at him with something close to approval. She wore simple silver-gray clothes. The chief asks for you, Ethan, she said. Come. Mira led Ethan and Lila out of the healing room. They walked along paths that seemed grown from the giant trees themselves, winding upwards. The air smelled sweet, like flowers and fresh earth. Buildings blended into the living wood, glowing softly. People watched them pass. Men and women with silver-tinted skin and glowing eyes stared at Ethan. Their expressions were hard to read: curiosity, distrust, worry. Ethan felt like a strange bug under a magnifying glass. He kept close to Lila. They arrived at a large open space high in the trees, like a natural platform. Chief Donovan stood at the center, tall and serious. Many people from Viridia were gathered around, silent. Their golden eyes all turned towards Ethan as he approached with Myra and Lila. The silence felt heavy. Donovan motioned Ethan forward. The boy walked slowly, feeling every step. He stopped a few paces from the chief. Donovan looked out at his people, then back at Ethan. "Ethan," the chief began, his voice clear and strong, carrying over the gathered crowd. "You stand before us healed, but tell us again, Terran boy. Why did you throw yourself at a thornback for a girl you did not know?" Ethan swallowed. So many eyes watched him. He remembered the fear, the blood Lila trapped. She was hurt, he said, his voice firmer than he felt. Alone. The beast was coming. I couldn't walk away. Anyone would do the same. He glanced at the watching faces. Many looked doubtful. Would they? Donovan asked quietly. He turned to his people. For generations we have hidden. We remember the fear, the suspicion from those who call themselves pure humans. We built Viridia high in the trees, away from their machines and their scorn. We called them Terrans, and kept our distance. He paused, letting his words sink in. But this boy, this Terran boy, saw past the differences we hold on to so tightly. He saw a wounded child, not an enemy, not a stranger, just a child needing help, and he fought a monster for her. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Donovan raised his hand for silence. His act shames our own fears. It shows a courage not born of strength or weapons, but of simple kindness. An act of pure humanity. He looked directly at Ethan. Such an act demands more than healing. It demands our grace. He faced his people again, his voice ringing out. Therefore I decree this. We will send word to the Terran outpost, Nexus Station. We'll tell them Ethan lives. We'll invite their leader, Captain Evans here, to Viridia. We will talk. Face to face. A wave of shock ran through the crowd. People gasped. Whispers grew loud. Ethan saw disbelief and anger on many faces. This was huge. His father would come. Then, a man stepped forward from the crowd. He was taller than Donovan, broader, with a hard face and eyes that glowed fiercely. He didn't look happy. Chief, the man said, his voice rough. This is madness, inviting Terrans here. After all they did? This boy is one. What do they know of us? They will see our home, our ways, and they will want it or destroy it. Donovan met the man's angry gaze. Kale, he said calmly, but firmly. Your fear speaks, but I have spoken. The invitation goes. He turned away, ending the argument. As people began to murmur loudly again, Kale glared at Ethan. It wasn't just anger Ethan saw in those golden eyes. It was hatred. Kale turned and pushed his way back through the crowd, disappearing into the glowing trees. Lila moved closer to Ethan's side, her face worried. The warmth Ethan had felt from the healing pod vanished, replaced by a sudden chill. Peace, it seemed, wouldn't come easily. Someone was already against it. Someone dangerous. A heavy silence hung over Viridia after Chief Donovan's announcement. Ethan felt the tension like a physical weight. The warm, glowing air of the tree city suddenly felt colder. He saw the distrust in many eyes, sharp as the thornback's claws. Kel's angry departure left a dark mark. The next day, messengers were sent to Nexus Station. Ethan waited, his body healing, but his mind restless. Lila stayed close, showing him parts of Viridia. The gardens where glowing fruits grew, weavers making shimmering cloth, the children playing with small, light-drinking creatures. It was beautiful, but the worry never left Lila's golden eyes. Not everyone agrees with Father, she confessed quietly as they walked a high walkway. Kale has many friends. They fear your people. Ethan understood fear. He felt it too. What would happen when Captain Evans and his father Daniel arrived? They see a city of wonders? Or only strange people they didn't trust? 2 days later, the Terrans came. Ethan watched from a high platform as the small Earth shuttle landed carefully on a cleared space below the giant trees. His heart leaped when he saw his father, Daniel Cooper, step out first, scanning the glowing city with wide, anxious eyes. Captain Laura Evans followed, her posture stiff, hand resting near her sidearm. A small security team flanked them. Chief Donovan met them at the edge of Viridia. Ethan and Leela watched from above. The greeting was formal, cautious. Donovan spoke calmly, gesturing towards the city. Captain Evans nodded, her expression unreadable. Daniel kept looking around, searching. When his eyes finally found Ethan high above, relief washed over his face, quickly followed by shock at the sight of the glowing settlement and its people. Ethan waved weakly. The meeting happened in a large, round room grown from living wood. Ethan was brought down. Seeing his father rush forward and hug him tightly, ignoring the watching Viridians, was the best feeling Ethan had known since the attack. Ethan's son. Daniel breathed, his voice thick. "Are you all right? What is this place?" "I'm okay, Dad," Ethan said, pulling back. "They healed me. They saved me." He looked at Captain Evans, who was watching Donovan warily. "Chief Donovan wants peace." Donovan nodded. "We do. Your son showed us a path beyond old fears." Talks began. They were slow and difficult. Captain Evans spoke of Earth Union protocols and safety. Donovan spoke of harmony with Verdant and their history of isolation. Daniel mostly watched Ethan, concern etched on his face. Ethan tried to explain how Leela was just a girl who needed help, how Viridia felt peaceful. But the distrust in the room was thick. Suddenly, shouts erupted outside. A man burst into the meeting room, his face pale. "Chief, the Heartspring. Something's wrong." Donovan stood instantly. The Heartspring was Viridia's main water source, a pure pool deep within the roots of the great central tree. Everyone rushed out. They followed the man down winding paths deeper into the massive trunk's base. The air grew damp and cool. They reached a large cavern. In its center, a pool of clear water usually glowed with soft blue light. Now, the water looked sickly, swirling with ugly green streaks. Bubbles popped on the surface, releasing a faint, acrid smell. Several Viridians were gathered, coughing, holding their throats. One lay on the ground, weak. "Poison," someone cried. Panic rippled through the Viridians. Kale stepped forward, pointing a finger at Captain Evans and her security team. "You see?" he roared, his voice echoing in the cavern. "They bring their treachery. They poison our lifeblood. This is the Terran way." Captain Evans paled. "We did no such thing." "We wouldn't lie," Kale shouted. "You saw our city, our strength, and you feared it, just like always." He turned to the frightened crowd. "Drive them out. Protect Viridia." Angry shouts rose. Viridian warriors moved forward, their expressions hardening. The Terran security team raised their weapons nervously. Donovan tried to shout for order, but the panic was growing. Ethan felt sick. This would destroy everything. He looked at Lila. Her face was tight with fear, but her eyes darted around the cavern, thinking fast. She leaned close to Ethan, whispering urgently over the noise. "The toxin. Smells like the bitter root from the deep caves. The caves under us. Nobody goes there. It's dangerous. But maybe someone put something in the spring from below." Ethan remembered his forbidden explorations near the Shimmering Falls. He'd seen old maps of crystal caves and underground rivers beneath this region. "The caves connect," he whispered back. Maybe to here." Lila nodded fiercely. "If someone poisoned the spring from below, we can find proof." "Clear your people where?" Ethan asked. "The lowest entrance," Lila said. "Near the old root cellar. It's sealed, but we can open it." Comanche grabbed his hand. While the argument raged between Kale, Donovan, and the Terrans, Ethan and Lila slipped away, unnoticed in the chaos. They ran down dark, unused passages deeper into the massive tree's roots. The air grew colder, damper. Finally, they reached a heavy wooden door covered in thick moss. Alila pushed hard. It groaned open, revealing a crack in the rock wall behind it. The entrance to a dark, dripping cave. A foul smell, stronger than the poison spring, hit them. Leela took a glowing stone from a pouch. Soft light showed a narrow tunnel leading steeply down into darkness. Water trickled down the walls. "Ready?" Lila asked, her golden eyes reflecting the stone's light. Ethan took a deep breath, the memory of the Thornback's pain a dull echo. He nodded. For Viridia, and for peace. Together they stepped into the cold, wet darkness of the caves below the city. The shouts of anger above them faded, replaced by the drip of water and the pounding of their own hearts. Proof was down here. Danger. The cave swallowed them. Lila's glowing stone cast shaky shadows on wet, jagged walls. The air tasted bitter and metallic, making their eyes sting and throats burn. Every breath felt dangerous. Water dripped, echoing loudly in the tight space. They moved carefully, the slippery floor treacherous. "Keep the stone low," Ethan whispered, remembering his father's geology lessons about underground gases. "Bad air can pool down here," Leela nodded, holding the light near their feet. The tunnel sloped down sharply. The foul smell grew stronger, mixed with a sharp chemical temps Ethan recognized from the poison spring. "We're close," Leela choked out. They rounded a bend. The tunnel opened into a larger cavern. In the center stood a crude device. Metal tanks connected to pipes that snaked upwards into the rock ceiling. Greenish liquid dripped from a valve, pooling on the cave floor. Empty containers, marked with a symbol Ethan didn't recognize, lay discarded nearby. This was the source. It's pumping poison straight up. Leela gasped, pointing to the pipes. Into the heart spring. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echoed behind them. They spun around. Kale stood at the tunnel entrance, blocking their way out. Two other Viridian men stood behind him, faces hard.
Else.
Golden eyes burned with fury in the dim light. "Stupid children," he snarled. "You should have stayed out of grown-up business." "You poisoned your own water," Ethan shouted, anger overcoming fear. "You blamed innocent people." "To protect Viridia," Kale roared, stepping forward. "Donovan is weak. He lets Terrence walk into our home, see our secrets. They will take everything. I had to show our people the truth about them." He drew a long curved knife. "You won't ruin this. You won't tell anyone anything." He lunged. Ethan shoved Leela sideways, away from the knife's arc. Kale stumbled past them, snarling. His companions moved to grab the teens. Lila reacted fast. Shh! She threw her glowing stone hard at the poison device. It shattered against a metal tank. Light flared, blinding in the dark cave. In that second of confusion, Ethan grabbed a loose rock and slammed it against a pipe joint near the base. Metal screeched. Green poison sprayed out in a hissing jet, splattering the cave floor dangerously close to Kel's feet. "Run," Ethan yelled, pulling Leela towards a narrow side passage he'd spotted. They scrambled into the dark opening just as Kale roared in rage. They ran blindly, the sounds of pursuit close behind. The passage twisted, climbed. Ethan hoped desperately it led back up. Light appeared ahead. They burst out of the rock wall, gasping right into the Heartspring cavern. The argument was still raging. Donovan, Captain Evans, Daniel, and the warriors froze, staring at the two teens covered in grime, stumbling out of the cave wall. There, Ethan pointed back at the passage. "Kale poisoned it. He's down there. He tried to stop us." Kale and his men erupted from the passage behind them, furious. Kale saw the crowd, saw Donovan's face turn to stone. "Lies." Kale screamed, waving his knife. The Terrans made them say it. Donovan didn't speak. He moved with terrifying speed. He stepped towards a thick, ancient vine growing on the cavern wall. He placed his hand on it. The vine pulsed, with a sudden deep green light. It seemed to come alive. With a sharp flick of Donovan's wrist, the vine lashed out like a whip, wrapping around Kel's knife arm. Kale yelled, dropping the weapon. More glowing vines snaked down, pinning Kel's to companions. "Enough, Kale," Donovan said, his voice cold and final. "The caves, the poison. Your own actions condemn you." He looked at the stunned crowd. Ethan and Lila found the truth. They risked the deep caves to save Viridia in peace. Shame and fear replaced anger on the faces of Kel's supporters. Warriors moved to secure the traitors. Captain Evans lowered her weapon, relief washing over her face. Daniel pulled Ethan into a tight hug. Later, under the twin moons, everyone gathered outside. The poisoned water was being purified using a mix of Viridian glowing plants and Terran filtration tech. Captain Evans stood beside Chief Donovan. "You called us aliens," Donovan said to the Terrans, his voice quieter now. "We are not. Long ago, our ancestors were Terrans too, sent to this harsh world, changed by it, shaped by it, to survive. We became Viridians. We hid, fearing you would reject us." Ethan... He looked at the boy, standing with Leela and his father. Ethan saw only a person needing help. He reminded us that underneath the light in our eyes or the metal in your ships, we are all human. We share one home. Verdant. Let us protect it.
Together.
A cheer rose, hesitant at first, then strong, from both Terrans and Viridians. Ethan felt a warmth spread through him, chasing away the last of the cave's chill. Donovan walked over. He placed a firm hand on Ethan's shoulder, his golden eyes serious but kind. "Your bravery remade to worlds, boy," the chief said. "Remember that." As the twin moons shone down, Terrans and Viridians worked side by side. They planted a young sapling near the city's edge. Its roots cradled a piece of shining Terran steel, and its leaves glowed with the soft, living light of Viridia. A new start, forged in courage and kindness, began to grow.